Okay guys, so today we'll be creating our resource manager, and basically what the resource manager is going to be a class that we will use to manage our resources. So it manages all of our textures, our music, anything such as that, sounds effects, fonts, all that stuff we manage inside the resource manager. Now you don't have to create your project this way, but I highly recommend you do so, because if you don't, it's going to be really tough to manage memory and manage resources. So it's best to do it this way, which is why I'm showing you guys how to do it. So the first thing to do is just create a new class, and we're going to name this class resource manager, and finish. All right. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a object type of the resource manager, and we just basically need to do private static final resource manager, and we're going to call this instance equals new resource manager. Okay, and the reason why we did this is because for all of our classes and activities and scenes, we're going to be using one resource manager class. What we don't want to happen is we don't want every scene or every class to create its own instance of this resource manager. We want to just use the same instance through all classes, which is why we set this to instance, which is why we created it here, so we can basically use it in all of our scenes. So second thing we want to do is we need to go ahead and create a method that will allow us to share or use the resource manager amongst classes, because once we need to get it, we'll then need to just simply use it in all type of classes. So let's go ahead and do public static and resources manager as the type, and it's going to be called get instance. All right, and we need to return the instance that we created above. All right, so second thing we need to do is we need to have a method that allows us to prepare our manager, and to do that we just need to do public static void, and we're going to call this prepare manager, and it's going to need a few parameters. The first one is the engine itself, so just do engine, and the second one is the main game activity itself, and you could just name that activity, like that, activity. And it also needs the bound camera that we created, so it needs that camera, and we just call that camera. And last but not least, it needs the vertex buffer object manager, so just go ahead and do vertex buffer object manager, and we just call this vbom, like that. As you see, we have some imports to do, so just hover over engine and do import engine, import the vertex buffer object manager, or vbom, and I missed the A here, so let me add an A right there, and go ahead and import that bound camera and add a bracket here, and voila, there we are. So we have the basic methods that we need already, and next we need to do is we need to go ahead and create our own objects of these type. So we need to do a public engine, my typing is horrible today, and we need to do a public main game activity, and just name it activity. And we need to do a bound public bound camera, and just name that camera, and public vertex buffer object manager, and do vbom. All right, so now we need to do is in our prepare manager, we need to set these variables equal to what we're being passed. So we need to do this dot get this dot. Let me save it. Let's save it really quickly. And this dot. Well, let me do get instance. So just do get instance and do activity equals activity, and then get instance and parentheses and do engine equals engine, and then we need to get instance again and vbom equals to vbom, and last but not least get instance camera equals camera. All right, so what we've done is we've created our own objects here, and we've allowed for them we set them as public so they can be shared throughout all our scenes and game activities. And what we did here is once prepare manager is called from our main activity, it's going to pass it everything it needs, and then we're going to set it equal to our own objects, so that way we can use them from this resource manager. All right, and that's pretty much it for our resource manager. Everything else we can pretty much do along the way. These are pretty much the basic methods that we specifically need for our resource manager. Everything else will be created kind of like on the fly as we need it. So next tutorial or next section or next lecture, we will be discussing, I believe, the scene manager. I have to look at my outline, but I believe it's the scene manager. So I'll see you guys in the next section.